those who are working with SBS, I think SBS has a very substantial funding to serve the message. If those participants or broadcaster find a chance in more training and support, that will be good. It will further the message of SBS. And now we have the print media, which I represent. And I think there is another Somali newspaper in the northern suburbs. So with the declining advertisement, because we don't apply for grants, and we don't consider ourselves living on government money. So if the government can direct some advertisement to those newspapers through Libre ethnic media, that will be great.
We do have a policy that 5% of government advertising must be through non-ethnic media, to use the phrase, media which serves people of a non-English speaking background. So we're happy to examine how that money is spent. But I mean, obviously, there's decisions made in government related to the efficacy of the decision of the ability to communicate a message on things like road safety, workplace safety, the sort of things we traditionally spend money in advertising on. So happy to examine that issue and to ensure that there are areas of the community that are not missing out on those messages.
Recently, your office made an announcement of 1 million in 4 years' time for the South Sudanese community. And if you can also talk about why was that money given and what are the issues, then yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of commentary around the South Sudanese community, and there are some challenges. I mean, people who've come from South Sudan have come from a place riven by conflict, where there's been a long-standing, well, in fact, a complex set of conflicts. It's not as simple as one conflict. And that has interrupted people's schooling, created all sorts of issues that people who are coming here have had to deal with. We're trying to be very positive and look at how can we engage with the South Sudanese community, ensure that they have the community infrastructure themselves in order to help deal with their own issues. We'll also particularly focus on issues like employment. The South Sudanese community members that we've had a whole range of consultations, both myself and at an office level and a department level with the South Sudanese community representatives, is that they want to engage and belong and economically participate in the society. And we've been identifying a couple of different issues. One is just access to opportunities for employment, and we've got the Jobs Victoria Employment Network, and there is funding specifically set aside within that $53 million investment to deal with disadvantaged multicultural communities, $6 million within that investment. So that will include helping not just the South Sudanese community, other young African community members, but we'll look specifically at, part of that will look at communities like the South Sudanese. We've also looked at the barriers that people face with unconscious bias. So there's strong evidence, in fact there's good academic research, that depending on your name, you'll get a different response to a CV being sent out for a job. And we're seeking to put in place, both within the public sector, so there's been trialled within the Department of Premier and Cabinet and also the Department of Treasury and Finance, but also with other government agencies, but also with private sector partners, and including large private sector partners in the corporate world, with the purpose whereby we seek to look at ways you can de-identify CVs so that people are treated fairly on the basis of their qualifications and ability to undertake the job, not on the basis of their name. And that work is being undertaken. We're also looking at how we can engage in things like organised sporting activities. There was a recent funding announcement of $1 million a year for 4 years to expand participation of multicultural communities in sporting endeavours. And in fact, on the day, there was members of the South Sudanese community, women from Werribee, who were participating in sporting activities. Structured sporting activity can be a very good, particularly for young people, can be a very good opportunity for them to engage with other people from different backgrounds, belong to a community, meet other people, and ensure they have self-esteem and are able to resist those who wish to draw them into negative social engagement. So I think there's a number of different elements to it, but we really are keen to ensure that employment, social engagement, and we have an absolute opposition to all forms of racism.
Arts
Okay, so there's a couple of issues there. One,
Yeah.
as a Minister for Multicultural Affairs, we fund things like festivals.
Festivals only, yes?
No, but there's other bodies within government. There's Multicultural Arts Victoria,
Yeah.
who have specific responsibilities in order to foster artistic activity in our multicultural community. So, and that's the responsibility of Minister Foley, who's got as the Minister for Creative Industries.
Mhm.
So we're happy to link people up with Multicultural Arts Victoria and see where we can look to greater engagement, because
We hope so.
because of course the desire for artistic expression is a universal human
Yeah.
part of the human spirit, but the ways in which that is expressed actually give insight and create empathy between people, because the differences in the expression of the human experience throw up not only the cultural value of the cultures that sit behind the experience that influence the art, but they also, through throwing that light on the universality of human experience, help to create empathy between people.
As a Minister of Multicultural Affairs,
Yes.
what does multiculturalism mean to you?
It means a number of things. Firstly, it means the right of people in a free society to live as they choose peacefully. So people have the right to retain culture, to develop culture, in fact, to retain language, to express themselves in a free manner and have the religion of their choice, as long as it's practiced peacefully. But multiculturalism is more than just separateness and having your own identity within a free society. It's also about common empathy and understanding between peoples. Because the heart of multiculturalism, and this is sort of referencing what I was describing around art previously, is a shared expectation around the universality of human life, value and experience. So we have a universal human experience expressed differently through different cultures, and therefore once you accept that framework, diversity becomes much less something to fear, because you have acceptance of the common humanity of all, and it becomes something you can celebrate as a means of expression of that common humanity, which doesn't challenge or threaten other people, and is not a challenge to a mainstream, but is part of a diverse community where we accept and respect. I don't talk about tolerance, because I think there should be a stronger word than tolerate. We respect people who come from different cultures and celebrate the contribution of those cultures to our diverse society.